आज के प्रोग्राम गीतमाला में आप सभी भाई बहनों का हार्दिक स्वागत करते हुए मैं हूं आपकी सेवा में दर्शन सहोता। नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल और अदावज। और आज के प्रोग्राम में हमारा साथ देंगे रंजीत धालीवाल जी। आज फ्राइडे है। फ्राइडे का मतलब होता है फ्राइडे नाइट मनी शो विद रंजीत धालीवाल जी। बहुत ही सुलझे हुए, बहुत ही तजर्बेकार और बहुत ही ऑनेस्ट और अच्छी सर्विसेज आपको देने वाले मॉर्टगेज ब्रोकर हैं रंजीत धालीवाल जी, और प्रेसिडेंट हैं क्लैरिटी फाइनेंशियल के। आपने कोई भी मॉर्टगेज लेनी हो या रीफाइनेंसिंग करवानी हो, एक बार इनसे मिलेंगे, आपका हजारों डॉलर का फायदा करवा के देंगे। अपॉइंटमेंट बनाएं और मिलें इनसे। कोई भी मॉर्टगेज साइन करने से पहले इनका नंबर नोट कर लें, 416-992-7265, 416-992-7265, या आप इन्हें ईमेल करें info@clarityfinancial.ca। रंजीत जी, आपका स्वागत।
Thank you very much, sir.
कैसे हैं आप?
Very good. Nice
All
to be
right.
here. And I also want to welcome our Italian listeners. There's a lot of Italian listeners out there that continue to keep the radio on after the Italian program's done just to listen to our program.
That's very good, and they are all welcome.
Absolutely.
All right. वैसे भी हमारे इटली के साथ तो बहुत नज़दीक के संबंध हैं।
Yes.
हमारी जो कांग्रेस की हेड हैं, प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो नहीं कहूँगा, कांग्रेस की हेड,
Yes, but she's pretty much the leader.
सोनिया गांधी जी,
She's Italian.
is all in India.
Yes. So Mr. Sota just said we're our proximity to each other, to both countries, and the head of our political party that is in power is an Italian-born woman.
Yes.
Sonia Gandhi.
And one day her son will be Prime Minister of India. This is my prediction.
I think you might be right, sir. Your predictions are pretty good usually.
Or her daughter. She's very, very smart lady. All right, let's talk about the mortgages. पिछले दिनों में हमें सुनने को मिला है कि जो CMHC है, ये अपनी इंश्योरेंस लिमिट्स की टॉप को पहुंच रही है। ये मॉर्टगेज मार्केट को कैसे अफेक्ट करेगी?
Well, generally speaking, you're right. CMHC is approaching its limits that the government imposes on them. And generally speaking, it's usually just a formality where the government says, okay, we're going to increase your limits, the number of mortgages or the amount of mortgages that you can insure. And that limit was about $450 billion in 2008, I believe. And then it was just basically automatically increased to $600 billion. And so now they thought that, all right, they've got they're using up that $600 billion, that the government is going to increase it just like that. However, there's a lot of political pressures for the government not to do that. And the main pressures really being that the housing market is continuing to go up. It's continuing. Last year, the house prices went up by 7.5% in 2011. And the government cannot do too much about the interest rates. They cannot increase the interest rates because the economy hasn't fully picked up yet. And they don't want to put like a stop to the economic growth.
Okay.
And because of that, they want to keep the interest rates low. However, they don't want to for the housing market to go into a bubble type of a situation. And so they're thinking of different ways to sort of slow down this housing market. And one of the ways they're saying is what CMHC has been doing is basically CMHC was originally designed to help Canadians get into homes.
Right.
All right. To create affordable housing solutions basically for Canadians. That's their mandate. And so that everybody should be able to buy their own home. So CMHC was created so that people who had less than 20% down payment, that they can get some sort of an insurance. They can still get a property. They can still get a mortgage because lenders would not lend to those types of individuals. And then in order to try to save up the 25% back in the days, they would, in the meantime, what would happen is the prices kept on going up, so they could never really save up for the down payment. So that's how CMHC basically came about. And however, what's happened lately is that a lot of lenders out there, CMHC's offered lenders what we call portfolio insurance. And portfolio insurance is essentially they can insure anything, not just the high-risk mortgages. High-risk mortgages, they make really good premiums on them. And they're very profitable. And CMHC has put over $10 billion into the government coffers over the last 10 years, maybe even more amount than that. and it's basically helped with the government budgets and so on, right? So the government makes money on that. However, recently CMHC has been offering this portfolio insurance to those mortgages that are not even high risk. They could be even 50% loan to value, where there's 50% down payment or 20% down payment, and the lenders took those insurance, especially after the credit crunch. Lenders decided to buy that insurance and pay for it on their own, and CMHC allowed them to do that at a much lower cost because there's already 20% down in it. The risk is very little anyways, so they saw it almost as just a formality.
Right.
Okay? But when you do that, when you get a mortgage insured by CMHC, it's got the full faith of the Government of Canada. Now, all of a sudden, that paper becomes very, very attractive. So rather than buying a government bond, which might give us, let's say today's rate is about 1.5%, which mortgage-backed security with the backing of the CMHC, they might be able to get 1.8% on that. So people started going for these types of products because they had the backing of CMHC. And CMHC wanted to do this because it allowed a lot of the smaller players to come into the marketplace, create a very competitive atmosphere so that the mortgages overall could be cheaper for Canadians. Great thing that what they were doing. However, what it's led to them using up a lot of their limits. And so the government is thinking that, hey, maybe we don't want to just increase it just like that. Maybe we need to pose some restrictions and so on it.
अगला मेरा सवाल है कि मॉर्गेज रेट्स किधर को जा रहे हैं?
Mortgage rates, right now, you're going to see over the next couple of weeks. We're at the end of February now, just getting into March. We're looking into the bond yields have creeped up over the last several weeks, up by about 25 basis points. And what that means is the fixed rates are going to start to go up. You're going to start to see that immediately, actually. They might have already started when you're listening to this broadcast. So that's on the fixed term. Now, on the variable rate side, again, there's upwards pressure on the variable rate side too, where a lot of the bigger banks are going up to Prime Plus. And coming back to the fixed rate side, we had Bank of Montreal, who came up with a no frills product, which they were offering 5-year at $2.99, but it had a lot of restrictions on it. And then Royal Bank and TD matched for a very brief period of time. However, they started increasing them. In fact, Royal increased it so much that they're at somewhere around over 4% on their discounted 5-year fixed rate mortgage.
जी.
Right? But yet we still have very low mortgage rates available through mortgage brokers, but we don't know how long those low rates will be there.
क्या रेट्स हैं आजकल?
We got a special that we're going to do in the show today, and that special, I'll talk about that special actually right now.
Okay.
That special is for anybody that calls today. We're offering a rate of 2.99% for a 5-year fixed rate mortgage. Now, I'm telling you, this is not going to stay. Maybe by the time you call us, it might have already gone up. I'm not sure, but do call. The rate is 2.99% for a 5-year fix, but it has to be for that higher ratio mortgages where people are putting less than 20% down for purchases or for refinances.
All right.
So less than 20% down, we can give you that, but we can only hold that rate for also a 60-day period. So it's got a little bit of restrictions, but it doesn't have a lot of the restrictions that the no-frills mortgages like Bank of Montreal's mortgages had, where they could not be ported, they were not assumable, and you'd have to pay a penalty to get out of it for the entire term. There's nothing like that. The rate is really, really good. So this is probably the best rate that I've ever seen for a really good type of a mortgage. And I think this has probably been the best rate probably in the history of lending anywhere on the planet.
Okay. रंजीत जी, क्या कनाडा की गवर्नमेंट इस साल फिर मॉर्गेज रूल्स में अदला बदली लाएगी, चेंजेस लाएगी?
Well, we talked about they're starting to restrict CMHC. They want them to stop insuring all these different things, but it seems like the government might again come in. They've already made 3 changes over the last 3 years, and this year again they might come up with changes in order to stop this what they feel might become a housing bubble. However, right now the word that we're getting, they've been talking to our industry a lot recently, some of the leaders in our industry, and they basically, these people that I've been having a lot of discussions with, just came back from our conference in Cancun, spent a lot of time with all kinds of different lenders, senior VPs at different banks, and also presidents of some lenders, and talked to them for long periods of time about this. And they've basically come back and advised that, you know what, the government's really good at listening. They're basically listening. They're trying to understand the whole situation, and then they're going to make their decision on it. My personal opinion is, unless if the interest rates are going to stay around the same, which are still very low, although I said that, you know, they might creep up a little bit, but they're still ultra low. They're the lowest that they've ever been. And if they remain the same, the housing market is going to continue to increase in prices because there's a lot of demand and the payment is so low. It doesn't make sense to rent anymore. It makes sense to buy. It makes sense to buy rental properties and so on. So if the prices continue to go up, especially during the spring market or even prior to the spring market, then they might start making some changes. And they've got 3 areas that they can make these changes. Maybe we can, I think I'm getting a signal for a commercial break. When we come back, we can take a look at what potential changes that they might be looking at.
Okay. कमर्शियल ब्रेक से पहले आप अपना आज का स्पेशल हमारे लिसनर्स के लिए जो लाए हैं वो दें.
Yeah, special is for a 5-year fixed rate, $299. Anybody that calls me today, and we can only block this rate for a 60-day period, and it has to be where you're putting less than 20% down.
Alright, अपना टेलीफोन नंबर भी दे दें.
It's 416-992-7265. That's 992-7265. Call me, leave a quick message. I'll give you a call back. We'll discuss your situation. We'll find out if that's the best product for you, or maybe we need to look at a different product. But the rates are still at an ultra low.
Alright, एक कमर्शियल ब्रेक लेते हैं और फिर वापस आते हैं.